Hello, everyone! Welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you stuck around for Elden Ring, we're going to get right into it here. So, on the last stream, thanks to the method that we found online from the Soul Obsession channel, we made it to the DLC with a fresh character in under 2 hours. We're going to be continuing as Ansbach's bow and acquiring Ansbach's bow, the longbow specifically. So, there's a few things we need to do while we're here. I have a little shopping list, and the first thing we're going to do, of course, is avoid the guy on top of this gateway, who always surprises me every time I come to the DLC. We're going to run around and grab a couple of the Scadutree fragments that let us level our character some. The DLC has this whole thing where you keep the level that you went in, but you are kind of nerfed, like you do less damage to enemies and you take more damage from enemies until you have leveled up what is called a Scadutree Blessing. You get that from a few places. There are a couple of hidden enemies, like this guy who's holding a pot above his head over here. Like, these guys always have some sort of item on them, and in this case the Scadutree Fragment is the thing we need. There are also fixed locations where they appear, so we're going to be heading to a couple of those. And most of them are by the crosses that you'll find NPCs around, and that allows you to progress a little bit through the story of the DLC. So we're going to be doing a couple of those because, while we don't need to fight any of the major bosses to acquire Ansbach's longbow, we do need to do a couple of NPC invasions, and that's going to be kind of difficult unless we are a little bit closer to leveled up in terms of our Scadutree Blessing. I would also like to go and fight a field boss in order to acquire a smithing stone, because we've just used up our first run of 10 Somber smithing stones to level up the Bloodhound's Fang so we could fight Moog and get to the DLC in the first place. But we will need to acquire more of them for the bow, because that is also a Somber weapon that requires the Somber smithing stones. So we've got a few Scadutree fragments. We should be able to get our blessing up to like level 2 or 3 at this stage. The first couple of levels, it's sort of like with golden seeds, right? The first couple of levels, you only need one Scadutree fragment to level up your blessing, but then the further up you go, it starts to require 2, and then it starts to require 3. By the way, I'm going to take you on a very brief detour over here, because this was one of the first areas I sort of explored when I first came to the DLC. And I was looking around to see what was going on, and I came across this view. And there's so much going on here. Like, for a start, there's that guy down there. There's this whole, like, red biome going on. And then there's a blue biome further down beyond that, with a giant, like, hole in the ground over there. And then there's this dragon, and then there's this mountain. And just like in the main game, all of that is stuff that you can go to if you want to. It's genuinely a stunning view, and that's one of the things that I'm going to be taking into terraforming in Survival Guide, with regards to, like, working with verticality in environment design, and, like, trying to create sort of a panorama that you can really be proud of as a build. And so the new build area in Survival Guide is going to be quite heavily inspired by some more of the stuff that we see here in the Elden Ring DLC. Not quite an Elden Ring build area. I'm not going for, like, one-to-one kind of recreation, but inspiration, definitely. So we're going to zoom around the gravesite plains here. We're not going to stop too long for anything in particular. There are some other items you can acquire from around here, like there is a an item that lets you boost your spirit ashes. There are a couple of weapons here as well. But yeah, the spirit ashes kind of have the same nerf that the player does at the beginning of this, so you have to acquire revered spirit ashes in order to make sure that your summonable creatures can do a decent amount of damage. We're not going to worry about that because we shouldn't be here for long enough that we really need to do any summoning. But we're going to head straight for this cross where we can meet Hornsent and Freya. We can also, while we're here, get another one of these Scadutree fragments, and that should hopefully get us leveled up to at least +3. So while we're here, the Shadow Realm Blessing option appears. So yeah, the first one needs one level, needs one fragment, and then after that they need 2. So we'll talk to Freya. We don't really need to talk to Freya that much, but it's our first time in the DLC interacting with characters, so we might as well.
Won't we all? I am Freya. I once fought alongside General Radahn. In battle, you can be sure I'll hold my own. Oh, another thing. Did you speak to our dour little friend? If you've yet to do so, have him give you a map of the cross's whereabouts. You'll find more of them dotted about these lands. They are Mikola the Kind's footprints.
I'm really sorry about the flickering, by the way. I can try and improve the graphics settings here because I have my quality set to medium, so let's at least put it on high. But, like, yeah, some of the lighting flickers here, and it's really irritating. If we touch this cross, there is some interesting lore going on with what exactly these crosses are. But more importantly, we need to talk to Hornsent.
Another, treading the heels of Mikola. Then, as that woman would surely say, we are in our purposes well aligned. But understand, your kind are not forgiven. The Earth Tree is my people's enemy. By Marika long betrayed, set aflame. I believe Mikola's apologies when he says our delivery will come, but never will I see your kind as worthy. And yet my oath I cannot overlook. If Mikola it is whom you would seek, then comrade, allow me to give you this. These are the sites of the crosses I found. I urge you, follow after Mikola. As long as you abide by his footfalls, you will be no enemy to me.
Alright, cool. So we have the cross map, and we've exhausted Hornsent's dialogue. That's the important part, because we are going to have to kill him later. It's fine. It's fine. No worries. Yeah, more flickering. I don't know what that's about. Sorry about that if it's kind of distracting. I'll probably not be spending too much time here in the DLC on the stream. DLC took you from level 150 to 205. Yeah, I finished my latest run of the game with my, like, main character at level something like 203. So, yeah, fully agree with that. Right. Next cross, and here is the star of the show for today. This is Sir Ansbach. And also the cross says, once again, that.
You must be the Tarnished. I am Ansbach. Formerly in service to Lord Moog, but now, like you, another soul guided by kindly Mikola. I'm hardly the steady hand I once was. My fighting days are far behind me, which is why I have chosen to dedicate myself to investigation, to discern tender Mikola's ultimate purpose. I'd rather not volunteer service to a new master, unless I know that I can be of use. May I request a service of you? 6 crosses, identical to this one, have been discovered in these lands. They are akin to tender Mikola's footprints, or gravestones, which mark what he's left behind. If you discover any more crosses, be certain to tell me. I presume you, too, are keen to know just what kind Mikola is doing here.
We certainly are.
Hello there. Together, we work together for Mikola the Kind. Many things we have found.
So Moore is a character we won't be interacting with a whole lot right now. He does sell rune arcs, so I'm going to buy those, because I might as well. Don't really have much else to spend my money on. He'll also tell you about the sealed spirit springs, which we'll be taking full advantage of in a second. But for the moment, we can level up our blessing one more time. And we can talk to Ansbach about more. I don't know if we need to do this dialogue, but I just want to exhaust everything Ansbach says here before we move on.
Provisions our little outfit. Some more traffics with the Forager brood, his brethren, who collect supplies from all corners of the land. No doubt they find inspiration in his many virtues. These are not your foes, Tarnished. Should you spot any Forager brood, be sure to mind your manners.
So the Forager brood are actually kindred of rot. If you see anybody who is in the DLC, who any of the the bug guys who are normally the bane of your existence in the main game, they're scavengers in the DLC. So another chapter for kindred of rot for anybody who's following the the fan fiction that people are writing while we do these streams. Might have screwed more in Hornsent. Hornsent, I know for sure, moved to a boss fight and can't find the summon sign to help another place. Yeah, so we're going to go over what we do with Hornsent here in a second. We need to make sure that he's all good now. Yeah, okay, cool. So, from here we're going to ride through to Castle Ensis. We're not going to be fighting a huge amount of the stuff on the way, but thankfully the Bloodhound's Fang is a pretty decent weapon, even though we are relatively low on blessing. Honestly, once you've got a few of the Scadutree blessings, you're probably good for this opening segment here. And this will be kind of familiar to anybody who watched the last playthrough, because we did have to cross this bridge to get to Shadow Altus. But this time we're actually going to be going ahead and going into the castle, at least a certain way. We're going to be grabbing this because it's another Scadutree fragment. We'll get the Grace here as well. Also try and reset any enemy aggro if there's any guys looking for me right now. And I believe there are a couple of other useful things in this encampment, but we're not going to worry about those immediately. The bow is our main priority. Oh yeah, I forgot you get off the horse, so I rode 3 feet and then had to get off. What do you recommend for leveling up early game pre-Margit? Go and do Weeping Peninsula. That's what I would mainly recommend. Alright, so we're going to get absolutely destroyed by Great Blade Phalanxes there, but at least we get to score a couple of hits. Ow. Okay, yep. Still taking damage, it turns out. I was not prepared for that guy to join in. It kind of threw me a curveball. Okay. So we will return to that and possibly just run past the troll. I don't think we need to fight the troll, really. Also get a couple of crafting materials here, none of which we will, strictly speaking, need, but... Yeah, anyway, let's just keep running this way. I don't think the troll's really going to follow us that far. There is at least a cave entrance over here that will prevent it from following us any further. And then we can quickly take out these two. Make sure that we're not followed by the guard who comes down the steps. Yeah, the troll is still mad, but that's fine. Stay mad. Okay, we'll grab that, just to make sure that it wasn't anything important. And then as this knight comes down here, we're going to do our best to run around him. Because our actual objective is right here and right here. And then we get this Grace. So if the knight prevents us from sitting at the Grace, then we can do something about him, but otherwise we're just going to rest here, level up our blessing one more time. And most importantly, we've just picked up this note from Leda, who is the, or Leda, maybe it is, I forget, who is the woman you meet at Mohg's palace after you've beaten him, who leads you into the DLC. We've also got ourselves a Somber Smithing Stone 1, which is going to be good for upgrading Ansbach's Longbow later. So now we have that note from Leda. We can head down the Spirit Spring way to Shadow Altus, skipping the boss of Castle Ensis, who is otherwise the person you need to defeat if you want to progress to Shadow Altus which is what I did on my main playthrough. But yeah, Relana is a really cool fight if you know how to do it, and a really awful fight if you don't. But first of all, we're going to be headed down here, through the Poison Swamp, up the Spirit Spring, Fort of Reprimand. We will briefly grab the Scadutree fragment at Morth Ruins, and then we'll head on into the Shadow Keep via a slightly different path, which is going to be kind of fun. Ignore all the Blood Fiends. Don't want anything to do with Blood Fiends today. The Lore Drop of Relana was one of my favorite things in the DLC. I mean, yeah. I think there's a lot going on there. I do wish she'd had some kind of, like, dialogue or cutscene or anything, but there are some aspects of the DLC which don't feel anywhere near as fleshed out as fans would want them to be, but you could also say the same of the main game, right? It's really up to people to piece together some of this stuff. Alright, so we're going to break this. There we go, when I can actually hit it. Take the Spirit Spring up. And be forced off the horse at the Fort of Reprimand. Would have loved a cutscene with her, yeah. Alright, we're in. Fun fact I discovered about this Omen Killer, by the way. We can just jump this gap, and he doesn't care. He will not follow us. See? Still just chilling over there. Still just, like, looking out or whatever he's doing. So from here, we will take our exit. Get back on the horse now we're allowed to, and run past the Ghost Flame Dragon. I'll grab this Grace here quickly just in case. Asleep on watch? I mean, probably. You can't really tell under the mask, so I expect that works in his favor. By the way, I've done no leveling up between streams. Like, we are still level 78 or 79 or something. But I put a ton of points into Dexterity, which is both good for Bloodhound's Fang and basically what is required for even wielding Ansbach's bow. So I think for the meantime we should be okay as far as fighting anything, but I'm going to avoid fighting a lot of stuff where possible. Right, so now we are here. This is Morth Ruins. Over here at this cross, we meet a silent man who will currently not do anything because we don't have a gesture that you need in order to fight him. He is one of the people that I absolutely recommend fighting, though, because he gives you access to the Dryleaf Arts, which is a really incredible weapon if you're like me and enjoy hand-to-hand combat styles in video games. Tuxedo Cat, thank you for the 81 months. Good to see you. Hope you're well. So we're going to ride up the road and we're going to meet Leda and Hornsent up here at the Shadow Altus Cross. Hornsent should have moved here by now. And we've rested at Grace, so he should be up here. Yes, there he is. And there is Leda. Perfect. Okay, so that's the gesture you need in order to fight Dane. We can rest here at the Grace. We'll get one more Scadutree Blessing, so we're up to +5 now. That should be pretty decent, I think.
Hello again. Did you meet my compatriots? They're quite the congregation. from places as far and wide as you can imagine. Doubtless it'd have all come to blows at first glance, were it not for the charm kindly Miquella put upon us. This is what allows us to serve together, the work of a living god. Oh, that man is known as Dane. He's been in the service of Miquella the Kind longer than I. He might be solemn of cheer, but is a fierce warrior nevertheless. There's no cause for concern. Dane's reluctance to speak to you is no fault of your own. We've been acquainted for quite some time, but even I am yet to hear his voice. Perhaps one day.
Love the fact that there's a monk who took a vow of silence in this. That's one of my D&D characters.
Wondering about the Hornsent, are you? True enough? In any other circumstance, he'd be at our throats. Long ago, Queen Marika commanded Sir Mesmer to purge the Tower folk, a cleansing by fire. It's no wonder the Hornsent holds the Erdtree in contempt. That aside, man is by nature a creature of conquest. And in this regard, the Tower folk are no different. They were never saints. They just happened to be on the losing side of a war, but it's still a wretched shame.
Alright, cool. So, Leda tells us a little bit more about the lore of the Hornsent. You can say hello to him.
You have a knack for timing, my fellow. I found the site of a new cross. Take this. Miquella has said as much himself. He wishes now to throw it all away. He says the act, though undoubtedly painful, will sear clean the Erdtree's wanton sin. The truth of his claim can be found at each cross, which is evidence enough to earn my belief. Go to the misshapen tree of Umbra. In that forsaken place, blood must spill. The blood of your fellows, the Erdtree faithful.
So he kind of gives you the somewhat misleading direction of going to the Scadutree, which is the giant twisted version of the Erdtree that you see there in the background. We are not going to be doing that, mainly because you can't really, but also because it's taking you in the direction of the story objectives. We're going to take a slightly different path to get there. So we're going to go back down to Morth Ruins, which I can probably just teleport to, actually. I don't have all of the map fragments for this area, but that shouldn't be a problem. I think I know where I'm going. And yeah, Scadutree Blessing really does matter. It's a whole thing. So, as we travel down here through Morth Ruins, there are a couple of these little houses you can go into that have open doors. They're all sort of sunk into the ground as though this area has been quite heavily destroyed. You might be... You're not alone, actually, in thinking that it might be possible to drop down there, but I'm fairly certain full damage kills you if you do that. So instead what we're going to do is back out of here and continue to follow the path through this little field of crosses to the next house on the block. I'm not sure what this is, actually. Let me grab... I am on the lookout for any locations in the DLC that give me Somber smithing stones, so I don't have to go and get them from elsewhere. But yeah, this path down here by the side of this house does take you down into the subterranean area. There are a few dogs and stuff around. But the cool thing is we can just drop down here, skate through this tunnel a little way, and we're basically down at the foot of where we could see down into from that other house anyway. So I'm going to briefly pop into here once again just to see what's up in this chest. Oh, it's these guys and their attack. Yeah, I can do pretty decent damage with this weapon, so I'm not too worried at this point. We have to continue down here, drop onto this balcony, drop down to this side, and there should be a ladder that leads us out of this cave and into a different location. Oh, the beautiful orange gold of the grasses against the blue-green gloom. Yeah, like the environmental, like, color harmony that's going on here is really quite cool. At least there are no endlessly spawning husks here. This is true. Very, very grateful for that. So speaking of husks, we get out of here and we are in Bonnie Village, which we shouldn't be spending too much time in. There are a few different directions you can go from Bonnie Village. There's a catacombs here, there are a few enemies to fight, there are a few items to collect. But we are going to be swiftly leaving via the bridge. Or at least those parts of the bridge that still remain. There are a lot of living jar shards around here, and this place and jars have a bit of a history, which also unfolds in a couple of other catacombs that we will find. We're also going to completely avoid those guys. And the lore implications that they bring with them. This is why I rarely give up Bloodhound's Fang. I mean, I'm kind of forcing myself to do so on this A to Z challenge, but also we'll be using Bloodhound's Fang quite a lot, considering this is how we will get to the DLC for the foreseeable future. So up here, this happens. And if we look to the sky, we start to see falling fragments, and it says, somewhere a great rune has broken, and so too has a powerful charm. I was kind of confused by why they just made that a couple of, like, dialogue boxes, basically. We're also going to ignore the wolves. Yeah, but the choice to make that a couple of dialogue boxes was kind of strange, considering that's, like, a major plot point. But realistically speaking... Sorry, I'm just going to hop here to make sure that this guy doesn't kick rocks at me. Oh, he's doing that. Okay, never mind. We will completely avoid this then. Yeah, like, it turns out that this event, which is Mikola's Great Rune being broken, like, he casts it off and it breaks, it can happen in a variety of different places depending on which direction you approach the Shadow Keep from. We are headed towards it now from a side entrance. That means we don't have to fight a boss that you have to fight if you go through the main entrance. Is it possible to get to Scadutree Avatar before the rune shatters? No, because you have to go through Shadowkeep in order to do it, and that's the catalyst for Mikola's Great Rune being destroyed. A huge development, and it's just activated wandering around? Yes. So the important thing about Mikola's Great Rune breaking is that it's the only thing keeping the people who have been sent here to follow him charmed and on each other's side. So what Leda was explaining at the last cross was basically, Mikola has charmed all of us, and that's the only reason we're working together. If that charm were to break, we'd all be at each other's throats. And so once we run up this and we tag the Grace here, we'll be in through a side entrance to Shadowkeep that takes us to this, like, church district, this sort of flooded area. Reminds me very heavily of one of the dungeons in Legacy of Kain's Soul Reaver, which is pretty fun. But we need to go back to, not the Morth Ruins Cross, the High Road Cross, to talk to both Leda and Hornsent now that the charm has been broken. Because the Hornsent is obviously not a big fan of anything related to the Erdtree, and with Mikola gone, he is reconsidering some stuff.
Intriguing. What remains there to be said? Do you presume us allies even now? Though Mikola's spell is newly broken, I must profess, the spell mattered little. Uphold his covenant, Mikola shall, and in godhood redeem our rueful clan. Then Marika and vilest Erdtree both will at last be from divinity wrenched. And surely, contented I will be. But first, clear resounds the call of vengeance. The Impaler, Mesmer, must pay his due. In vengeance for the flames, my blade I wield. How could I allow myself to forget? Revenge alone assures me peace of mind.
So, Hornsent is still pretty convinced that Mikola is on his side, but also becomes a summonable NPC in the fight against Mesmer, who is the boss at the top of Shadowkeep, who we're not going to be fighting at all. Also, this is where Mikola abandons his heart, which is pretty funny.
Oh, hello. Did you feel it? Mikola the Kind's enchantment appears to have broken. But while my devotion to kindly Mikola remains unchanged, by my troth, I am not so sure about the others. No, wait. Perhaps this is a blessing in disguise. I can wield my sword to cull the undeserving, those unfit to bask in tender Micula's presence. I should have thought of this earlier. Right. It's time to begin ferreting out those of us who don't deserve to be at kindly Micula's side.
We can just suggest, hey, kill Hornsent first, which is a conclusion she comes to herself anyway, but
The Hornsent.
let's speed things along.
On one hand, he trusts Micula the Kind to bring salvation to his people. With the enchantment lifted, his vengeful passions may once again ignite. But surely he'd be mindful of kindly Micula's promise. On the other hand, the Hornsent does present his own dangers. Perhaps your concerns are well-founded after all. Allow me some time to mull it over.
As usual, time passes when we set at the grace, at which point the Hornsent should disappear, or maybe he won't, but Leda should have made up her mind.
Allow me some...
Okay, maybe not. Maybe we have to progress a little bit more through Shadowkeep then, but yeah, we'll continue through the church district, we'll hit another grace, and then I'm fairly certain once we reach a certain point, then we get the option to invade the Hornsent with Leda assisting us. I should also consider using Mohg's Remembrance if I want to level up some, because we're level 77, so I could get a couple of levels out of that. But, yeah, anyway, right now we're just going to make our way through Church District. We will have to fight a couple of enemies here, some of whom are a little bit tough, but it's not a huge slog through this. There's just a couple of Fire Knights who we have to fight. Not these guys. Could care less about these guys. Got to jump over here, make our way to this rooftop, and then this is an unavoidable fight because this one always comes up and notices you, pretty much. Fortunately, once again, Bloodhound's Fang, decent weapon. Health flasks are also pretty heavy, so... And they don't have a ton of poise, so... Just keep swinging. It's really all we needed to do. Embers of Mesmer, always fun. And now the bit that everyone was kind of disappointed by because... Oh, a creature in the depths. Oh, great, it's just another tree spirit. They reused the boss from the base game. Everyone was expecting it to be some sort of fight where you had to be, like, outside the water and jumping from platform to platform or something, and then, oh, like... Really? You expected From Software to put a platforming thing in here? Okay, couple more of those Fire Knights to fight. Which we should hopefully be okay for, but I am going to quickly chug my flask just in case. Alright. Not too bad. Number one. There's another Scadutree blessing over there, and I think you can actually get to it by jumping, but I will not worry too much about that right now because we've got better things to do. Like kill this guy. Oh, dang it. Okay. No, we need to redo that then. I was hoping that we wouldn't run afoul of these guys, but unfortunately they are dealing a little bit too much damage right now. Rune loss prevention physics saved you so many times? Yeah. Well, watch me lose all my runes on the way back there because there's a couple of just instant death points where you can jump into the water here, and I will probably do that at least once if we have to do this multiple times. Oh, that one was close. Closer than I would like. And, oh, there we go. Excuse me. Okay, we're fine there. Need to make sure we heal. Ah, there we go. See? Fortunately, everything in the DLC gives you a decent amount of runes because the enemies here are quite tough, so I just don't have as much experience fighting these guys yet. And my my approach to fighting them in my main playthrough was to just rush them with the fist weapons I use. Which are fast and therefore easy to overwhelm enemies like this. Not a big fan of parkour challenges in video games. I played a couple of games where it's like the central conceit, and I'm okay with those, but obviously in a game like Elden Ring where the character movement is supposed to be, if not like clunky, then like balanced with the way combat feels, you know? Nope, nope, nope. This is where I fall in the water because I rolled too far or something. Ah, knocked me down. Okay, finally. So we get back the, you know, 6,000 or so runes from that. We've obviously lost the others. That was another place I could very easily have fallen in the water. Oh! There we go, did it anyway. Really got to pick your spot to jump down there, huh? Like I said, we're going to be going through this area a couple of times, so it gives me ample opportunity to screw up. Elden Ring was your first FromSoft game, and I was shocked to learn that the silly platforming was a purposeful thing in all the games. Yeah, I mean, cut back to the original Dark Souls trilogy where you can't jump. There is no dedicated jump button. That was an innovation for Sekiro. Obviously, everyone was really happy in Elden Ring where you got a horse. Now you're talking. Hit him with the windscreen wipers. Oh, and once again I nearly fall in the water again. We'll collect our runes from the roof. And make sure we fall off in an area where we can actually land on this. Still closer than I would like. Okay. Now we have slightly less falling in the water to do, but just as much worrying about the flame knights here, or mages, or whatever they are. Fortunately, with the right combination of moves, it's not too hard. We'll probably remember this for next time. The trick, of course, is them letting you pull off the right combination of moves. No fancy RPG Minecraft today. We've already done a stream on that. It just happened earlier. So apologies if you've missed it, but it'll be back on Thursday. I'm probably going to be streaming a little bit earlier for the next few streams as well, just to take advantage of the fact that evenings are quite nice in summer, and I wanted to spend a little bit more of the evening, like, making dinner and, you know, not finish streams super late. Okay, so this should take us to the back entrance to the specimen storehouse. Where on the right over here we should find a Somber Smithing Stone 9, which eliminates a problem for later. We're going to rest at this grace. Or we're going to at least touch the grace. And then I need to go back to the main gate cross to speak to Ansbach, because he moves to this library that we're in right now. Oh, he's gone already. Perfect. Alright. Nothing else we need to worry about there, then. At this point, I'm fairly certain that Hornsent should move to Shadowkeep and Leda resolves to kill him. Maybe I should talk to Hornsent another time.
Think not lest you...
Okay, yeah, now he's gone. So now Leda should say, alright, I'm going to kill Hornsent.
Ah, there you are. It took me long enough, I know. But I've made my decision. I believe it wisest to eliminate the Hornsent. If he were to point his blade at Sir Mesmer or Queen Marika, perhaps it would not matter, but vengeance changes a man. And one day, his blade may turn towards Miquella the Kind. Kindly Miquella is, after all, the true golden child. Even if he discards every last drop of his being, his lineage will always remain. I believe the Hornsent suspects what I have in mind. He never placed his full trust in me, even under the effect of kindly Miquella's spell. He must have recognized something. The scent of the killer that slept within me. The stench of crusted blood. I will follow the Hornsent. To have his revenge on Sir Mesmer, there is only one place he will go. The Black Keep.
Alright. So Leda has obviously been driven mad by the fact that Miquella removes the charm on everybody and just resolves to kill everybody one after the other. We're going to assist her with the first one because it is necessary for her to progress to the decision to do the same with Ansbach, who is now down here in the library. So what we're going to quickly do is find him. And I think I might actually have enough runes to level up because my level is still pretty low. Yeah, there we go. So I'll put another point into Dex, getting us slightly closer to being able to wield the longbow without using Radagon's Source Seal. There's this little back pathway through here, which if you do a couple of jumps, you make your way into this room. And I think there's an item around here somewhere. Yeah, there's this. So we'll grab that talisman. We won't really need to worry about that, but the main thing I'm doing here is unlocking this shortcut, which means we avoid a few enemy encounters in here, because we'll have to run through here multiple times. So we're going to fight a couple of these. There's two more guys here, but we can basically ignore, and we go down into this room, collect this item, and Ansbach is waiting for us here in the corner.
Righteous tarnished. It's been some time.
It's been all of 5 minutes, my dude.
There was one thought I could not dislodge from my mind. So, here I am. Quite unable to move on.
Stench of Crusted Blood is definitely another great song title,
After
yes.
Lord Moke's slaying at his dynastic palace, it appears his body has been absconded with and taken straight to kind Miquella. Surely you recall that I once served Lord Moke as a pureblood knight. After failing him in every regard, and losing sight of my vows, I'd do anything to make amends, in whatever meager way I can. What could they possibly have in mind for Lord Moog's remains? The implications are rather unnerving. What could they be?
Okay, cool. So once we've exhausted Ansbach's dialogue, we need to return to the first floor storehouse, Grace, and actually leave via the main exit, because that's where Leda invades Hornsent. And this is the way you would have come if you'd gone through the main gate and fought the boss there. You can't skip Hornsent because Leda has to kill him in order to decide to turn on Ansbach as well. That is, as far as I'm aware, a straight-up requirement. So the one obstacle is this guy right here, who is a real pain. But I think we should be able to just perform a quick crit. Do a quick Bloodhound's finesse. Jumping heavy. Follow up. There we go. Double KO. Not what I wanted. Yeah, those attacks are pretty hefty. They've got a massive sword. Am I going to be doing episodes of Final Minecraft Fantasy Server on the channel? It's just going to be a stream-only series, so the VODs are going to be uploaded to my YouTube VODs channel, but I'm not going to be doing, like, main channel episodes because I have no idea how to make structured content from that mod pack, rather. It's like, there's so much stuff going on. Like, I wouldn't know the first place where to begin. Like, if I set an objective, I don't know how long it's going to take to fulfill, and I honestly don't know how to set objectives, so... Let's try that one more time. Okay, this time... I actually get the riposte. Good. That went better. And again, everything here is dropping like 7,000 runes, which is amazing. Also, a lot of the stuff that drops smithing stones drops like a ton of smithing stones. Anyway, right here, we need to be going to the red summon sign to be summoned to assist Leda in this fight. And for this one, we can more or less hang back, because Leda is more than a match for Hornsent, but it'll go a little faster if we intervene.
I knew this day would come. The nature of your kind, I am certain, will always show itself. Given time, interfere not with my business. Apologies. Oh, mother. Wife. And child.
Kindly Mikula never betrays a vow. Go. Your family awaits you.
Curious why you chose Leda. Honestly, it doesn't matter much, because we're after Ansbach's bow in particular, so it's of no real concern to me whether we do either one or the other. We are going to very briefly take a detour here and get ourselves entangled with some Shadowkeep militia. Who shouldn't be too difficult to fight, as long as the game doesn't jitter too much while I fight them. Okay, cool. So I'll grab a couple of bits from them. What's this? More throwing knives, okay. Main reason is we want to go over here. We want to get down this ladder. And even though this area looks like it's flooded, We can run across through here. This is actually how you get out and into a different area later, but what I'm here for is this. That's another Somber smithing stone. That means we won't have to take a detour into the sewers at Lanedale, which I'm always happy about. Anyway, if we wanted to continue on, we could go through here. But for now, we're going to go back to the High Road Cross, where Leda is considering her decisions.
Ah, there you are. Well fought. You have my gratitude. He was never going to see eye to eye with us, but his words were ill-founded. It was hard to hear, I know.
So we get the Lacerating Cross Tree Talisman, which is a fun one. It enhances dash attacks, so if you're running at somebody and you swing...
I know I shouldn't let myself, but I suppose it's only natural to feel the weight of one's deeds at times like these. There's plenty left to be done, and I will see to it. Who else, I wonder? I don't enjoy casting suspicion on anyone I've called a comrade, but it's a small sacrifice in the grand scheme of things. We must eradicate all doubt. Who else? I don't enjoy but it's a small...
Alright, so now if we rest... I think at this point Leda decides to invade Ansbach, or maybe we have to progress Ansbach a little bit more.
Ah, there you are.
Okay, cool.
I'm afraid Sir Ansbach will have to be next. He insists that he's nothing but a worn-down, over-the-hill soldier. But in his day, he was the feared commander of the pure-blood knights, who cleaved open Mikkel the Kine with his blood blade. He claims he hasn't the spirit to take up his sword again, but I doubt it will be very long before he recalls, as I have, the cascading sheets of blood.
Another banger song title. Also Left to Fester, pretty good. Alright, cool. So, yeah, Leda has now decided to fight Ansbach. And, oh, I almost have enough runes to level up, so I'm going to do that one more time, because this is the crucial fight. This is the one that we have to win in order to get Ansbach's bow. I might as well just crack this rune, even though it's a big one. Once again, that gets us huge gains when it comes to both this sword and the bow we need. So we travel to the storehouse, and Ansbach is still here, and his invasion cannot happen until you resolve something for him. He's looking for information about what exactly Mikkel might want to do with Mohg's body, because apparently, even though this has never happened with any of the other fights, everyone else just kind of fades into dust or runes or whatever. I guess, no, wait, Godfrey's body is still there, and no, Morgoth's body is still there for Godfrey. Godric's body is still there after the fight with him, so I suppose it's not unheard of that when you fight one of the shard bearers, their corpse remains, right? But anyway, Mohg's remains are immediately taken away, apparently, and given to Mikkel. And so Ansbach is wondering, what on earth
What could they the implication?
he could possibly want with that. In this library lies the answer, and we're going to go up to the next floor via a couple of slightly annoying enemies around this corner. So what we're actually looking for here is a statue we can run up the feet, which is over on that side. But I don't think we can get there from here. And all of the items in here are bait. So we need to fight this guy. which is easier said than done because these enemies suck. Fortunately, we have an opportunity to get the crit in. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, cool. We did it. We did it. We made it. That should be everything. So we'll grab this. Ignore the militia. Jump up the feet. Run up this strange hanging statue and leap. And we're good. So we need to grab the Scadutree fragment here. The storehouse cross message, which I'm pretty sure is from Freya. We'll rest here so I can get my flasks back. We need to briefly head outside. I am about 300 runes short, or 3,000 runes rather short, so there's one more of those guys to fight. Oh, and this one's even got more runes. So I bet this is going to be awful. Yeah, annoying. I'd really like full health before I deal with you. Good. Okay, and now the bats have found me. And they're dealing so much damage for bats. But that's fine because we took out that one. Now we should be able to roll down here. Kill these three guys because they're just hanging out here. And when we wander in here, around this corner, we should find this. The Secret Rite Scroll. Let's take a second to read this together, because the implications are kind of fun. Also, the storehouse cross message, is left by Sir Ansbach. There we go. So, he says, what if there's another way to reach the Holy Quarter from somewhere in this keep? I guess it'd be in key items, because it's something we give to another NPC. Maybe not. Maybe it's in info. Where did the scroll go? Oh, no, here it is. A scroll made of white tree bark. Few can decipher the scroll, which describes the secret rite of the divine gateway said to be found at the tower enshrouded by shadow. A lord will usher in a god's return, and the lord's soul will require a vessel. So what this implies is that Mikola has kidnapped or absconded with Mohg's body in order to make himself a god at the top of the tower that the Hornsent are responsible for, or like the settlement where the Hornsent are from. And so what Mikola is going to do with Mohg's body is still, you know, a matter of concern. Especially considering he has charmed this many people in order to do it. So we're just going to make our way around here and give this to Ansbach as evidence.
What could they possibly have in mind for Lord Mohg's remains? The implications are rather unnerving. Well, what's this? Yes, I should have known. Even the truth was itself mere folly. As if using Lord Mohg to gain entrance to the land of shadow were not enough, he plans to use his corpse as the vessel of his king consort. He has forsaken Lord Mohg's soul. He desires only his empty shell. It beggars belief, but I'm afraid Tender Mikula fails to grasp the humiliation implied by this act. One thing is certain. My dear lord deserved better. Righteous tarnished. You have my gratitude. You have given me the answers I needed, but I can hardly fathom it. Such folly. Unto the end. I am a warrior, but I've aged. I cannot afford to act hastily. Curse it all. I know my limits. I could spend the rest of my life honing my craft, and still that creature would be out of my blade's reach. The absolute folly of it all.
Alright, so that is everything for Ansbach. When we return to the first floor, we should find that Ansbach is no longer there. Perfect, which means the invasion summon sign should be there for us to assist Ansbach against Leda. Or Leda, or however she pronounces it. I think Leda makes sense because she is like the leader in a way. Fully convinced that that enemy reading on the stairs is just to throw off your targeting against the one who's actually attacking you, because I swear to God I never target that guy. Alright. If we wanted to fight Ansbach, then we could use that one, but we want to assist Ansbach, so we use this one.
Sir Ansbach, I will dispose of you. I find that I have your ambivalence.
We're going to let Ansbach draw aggro first, because he does a heck of a lot of damage, and Leda's no slouch when it comes to HP. She also has a really, really annoying attack. That one, that I don't want to be on the receiving end of. Also, the fact that she's absolutely full of arrows is why I'm looking forward to using this bow.
So you've chosen your side, have you? Despite having no debt to the Lord of Lords.
Yes. Okay, first try.
I take my leave. For now.
Lady Leda, I ask you keep kindly Mikula in your care.
Alright, and with that, we should have the weapon we need for this playthrough. Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah, dude. And not only that, but we also have the dex required to wield it. I love it here. Alright, now we have Ansbach's longbow. We need to level this thing the heck up immediately. So we're going back to the base game. We will be returning to the DLC in a second, but we're going back to the base game and we're going to talk to EG because he will be able to sell us some smithing stones. And then I might actually go and introduce myself to the Round Table Hold because we haven't really talked to anybody aside from Enya. Brave indeed. So we don't have a smithing stone 2, 3, or 4, so we will need to buy those. Good that he sells more than one of the latter ones, because otherwise we'd have to go and find them. I don't know what else we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. Okay, cool. So I will briefly look up where I planned to get the other ones. Right. So we need to take a brief trip to... Church of the Plague is somehow the closest site of grace I have. Didn't read the wiki well. Honestly, I have done Ansbach's whole quest line a couple of times just to confirm that I was understanding it correctly. So don't worry, you're not alone. There was conflicting information when the DLC released on how you are supposed to get hold of Ansbach's bow, and this was really just me figuring it all out and piecing it together from what information I could glean. So I am glad that we are now here. And now we can actually use this thing, because from what I understand, the Ash of War is pretty fun. But we're going to ride down here so that we can get into Aeonia Swamp to get a Somber Smithing Stone 5. These are all over the place, but this is just one of the easiest places I could think of to acquire one. And we haven't upgraded it to +4 yet because we'll be able to do that a little bit later. There's a couple of guys around here who have, like, useful-ish items. The Rune Arc is nice. Mostly just going to try and avoid getting invaded by Millicent here, but who knows. Didn't want it anyway. So the Somber 5 I'm looking for is up here in a little offshoot of Aeonia Swamp that you can actually get to if you go to the Shifra River well and come up the other side. And then you can drop down here to get into Aeonia Swamp, instead of going north to fight the Great Jars champions. But in this case, we're not even going to worry about the Graven Mass. We're just going to grab this. Going to jump over these guys doing their helicopter thing. And once we're, like, here, we should be able to teleport away again. So now we need to go get a Somber 6, which is... Oh, interesting. Yeah, I remember this one. So we're going to head to Avenue Balcony. And we're actually going to go into the Fortified Manor, which is the section of Lanedale that is cloned for the Round Table hold. Oh yeah, we can't use our horse here. What am I doing? So we'll go this way. We'll head like we're going to fight Morgott, which we could feasibly do at this stage. And thankfully they're not shooting me constantly as I run up this. It is nicer to beat the enemies before you do this part because you get infinite stamina when you're not in combat. I'll take that though. Love being able to do damage to enemies again. We did 666 damage. That guy must have been the devil. So I'll grab this Grace because we can walk back here later. But for the moment, we actually want to drop off of here. Drop off of here. Oh, my ankles. Ignore the dogs, and hope the dogs ignore me. Fortunately, they're not great at jumping. Haley Tree still tears me up at 205. Of course, because, like, level like that is really immaterial. Like, the most important thing is, like, what you invest your stat points into, and the game doesn't let you invest so many stat points into Vigor that you become, like, ludicrously OP or anything, right? So here we have Mad Tongue Alberic's set, which we used to great effect last time. But what I'm actually looking for is over here. Hey, Black Cloud, welcome in. We've just acquired Ansbach's bow. We are now in the process of getting the materials we need to level it up. I'm fairly certain that in here somewhere... It's not this, because this is a Stormhawk axe. Absolutely not. Is it this way? I think it's this. Yeah, there we go. Somber 6. We can't, unfortunately, warp out of here because the Iron Virgin is still mad at me. There we go. Okay, cool. We're out. I'll briefly go back to EG so we can upgrade some stuff, and then we need a 7 and the final... oh, yeah, okay, I know where we need to go. I'm not going to like it. Stopped at 59 Vigor for diminishing returns. Yeah, 60 is like the soft cap for most stats, and 80 is the hard cap. After 60 Vigor, you really don't get much. You get like 6 points of health or something. It's not worth it. At that point, you just use talismans and stuff if you really need more health. So hey, remember this place? It still sucks. But it sucks a little bit less when you have a fully upgraded sword, so... Anyway, I'm not going to be fighting the lobsters, but I am going to be dropping down here. And somewhere down here there should be a body with a Somber Smithing Stone 7 on. And I can't remember which one it is, so I'm just going to try and loot all of them and try not to get killed by lobsters. Thank you for the glass shard game. There it is. Okay, cool. Can I get out of here alive is the next question. These lobsters have a grab, which is like utterly destroying to literally anybody, unless you have absurd levels of physical damage armor, I think. But now we can at last head back to EG and level this thing all the way up to level 9. And in future, if we have Somber weapons, I will make sure to grab both of the smithing stones in there the first time around if I can. So now, Ansbach's bow can get leveled the heck up, and is surprisingly cheap to do. And now we just need a Somber Ancient Dragon smithing stone, which is going to take us actually back to the DLC. And from the 3-path cross, we're going to ride up to the lake. I think at this stage we've got a decent amount of Scadutree Blessing. We're at +5. I can still level some? Yeah, okay, cool. So we're going to fight one of the dragon bosses. And we're going to try fighting it with the bow. Yeah. Oh, the other thing I should start doing is... equipping talismans that are going to help me. We have the arrow sting for now. We can go and get a different arrow sting talisman. I just need to be able to test how well I can fight stuff with this. Spaniel got a grass seed lodged in his paw. All paws now shaved right down. He looks like a raccoon. Oh no! Okay, well, we're going to quickly grab this grace by the local equivalent of Ailing Village. I forget which one this is. Alexander Shard would help, but it takes forever to get. Yeah, no, we're not going to get to Farum Azula right now. I'm going to use Mohg's Remembrance as well. Mikla threw him away, so I'm going to as well. But yeah, the build does not require anything that Mohg's Remembrance would give us, and we could always duplicate it at a mausoleum anyway, right? So the weapon skill for this bow is Fan Shot, which is basically a really good spread of arrows. The only unfortunate thing about it is that it does consume as many arrows as it looks like it uses. So once this thing wakes up, we're going to try fighting it. It's also really good for stacking status. But I don't currently have any status-inflicting arrows. And frankly, I don't know what would be very good against this dragon in particular, so maybe we'll be better off using Bloodhound's Fang for now. Because using 10 arrows at a time is unfortunately a little bit rough. Ow, yeah, no, that still hurts. Ow. Even if it does do a lot of damage, it's absolutely eating arrows. And I think the only way to get more mid-fight is to craft them. So I think while people rave about this bow, this is probably going to be one of the first bow playthroughs where we can't rely solely on arrows for some of the latter fights, because I can't see myself eating like 100 arrows at the start of a fight if I think it's going to be good against like Godfrey or whoever, right? So we'll have to adjust our strategy a little bit to include a melee weapon, I expect. Oh, I forgot about the Ghost Flame. Kind of implied in Ghost Flame Dragon, you know? Rough. Rough, dude. See, if we can't take out this guy, one of the alternatives is that we go all the way to Farum Azula and then we have plenty of opportunities there to get hold of a Somber Ancient Dragonstone, but Ah. AoE. Not happening. Alright, I think we are not winning this fight without some pretty significant status arrows and or starting with a melee weapon from the beginning. Or more Scadutree Blessing, of course. That's the other side. Personally hate dragons in Elden Ring. I really like the dragon fights in this game. There's only a couple of them that I don't like because I had my melee only build was my main character for a while. Is that I really don't like the ones where you can only target their head or their chest because you can't hit them if you've got a close range weapon. So I think it's probably in our best interests to just return to the base game and play a little bit more there, farm some arrows, honestly farm some levels, because I'm still really low level by normal standards. So we could spend a bit of time getting used to the bow by shooting birds with it. And I can refill my arrows when I rest at a grace, I just can't refill my arrows in the middle of combat. So we have enough ammo in supply, we've got 42 in storage. I can go to Church of LA and buy enough arrows that I can stock up basically for life. We just have to be a lot more strategic about how we use them in boss fights than I was expecting, because running out of arrows mid-fight is a big concern now, which I was not expecting.
What is it?
Holy arrows if it's undead? Yeah, I just don't have holy arrows yet. Like, I don't have the, I need to go and see the merchant on, like, Lanedale Outer Wall to get hold of those. Anyway, I'm going to take a very quick trip to the bathroom, so bear with me, folks. I'll be back in a couple of seconds, and we'll be continuing by fighting a few birds and leveling up some. Back in a sec. Okay, welcome back. I have a weapon in mind already for what we could use to supplement our longbow. Because when you see Ansbach fight, whenever he uses a melee weapon, he has a scythe. And while getting his scythe at this point requires you to get all the way to the end of the DLC, I'm pretty sure. I don't really want to do that. So instead, we can get a scythe from the base game that I think will do. and it will still scale with dexterity and strength, so like the build I have will be pretty good for it. I just need to recall where exactly I get hold of that from. Arrow management is a bit of a development oversight. Yeah, it's a little bit of a pain. But you know what's not a pain? Getting lots of arrows. Oh, I don't have... Ha. Yeah, I don't have the gold scarab because we haven't done any of this yet. Like that's really funny. I've not done any of the stuff I usually end up doing for leveling. Interesting. Okay, now we have that grace at least. That's the important part. The other thing we need to do is get a different talisman. A couple of different talismans, actually. So we can go looking for those now. And if we progress through Lanedale, we will get our 4th talisman slot. But anyway, yeah, back here in the DLC realm, we're going to grab a grace and drop down to a bit of Castle Ensis, which is hilarious because we've barely done any of Castle Ensis. But we need to head, like, here, basically. Once again, I'll probably end up using Bloodhound's Fang for this, because we need to fight a minor but still very irritating boss, and I think Bloodhound's Fang is going to be a good shout. So, up here, at the top of this plateau, we get the West Shadow Altus Grace. And if we go up here, there is, conveniently enough, a platform or two that we can drop down onto. That will take us into this, the Fog Rift Fort. Now, I don't know for certain if we actually have to fight the boss ahead of us. But it'll be worth finding out. I should probably not be one-handing this weapon. Should really not be one-handing this weapon. Yep. That would have gone a lot better for me had I not been barely doing any damage. Let's try that again. Yeah, the problem here is that I don't have a high strength score. That's probably something we'll be leveling once we can get a few more levels from the birds, because obviously we mostly leveled dex, and that means both that I do not have the required strength to effectively wield this with my base stats, and so Radagon's Saw Seal is doing a lot of that. And also there are 4 of these guys and we've got explosive barrels everywhere, so I mean... This guy's literally sat on my runes. Ow. The spear is a lot. I will say the spear, a lot. Okay. Of course, you get some fire arrows from just behind the barrel. Who was keeping them there? That's what I want to know. Right. Beware of left. And then the guy who comes out of that tower over there is a problem. But my main question is, can I not fight him now. And I think that's a yes. Okay, good. You can just run around him. Always good to know. That's the one. Alright, so this can no longer be equipped at the same time as the Arrow's Sting Talisman, but the Arrow's Soaring Sting Talisman is better. So we are equipping it. I think aside from a rematch with that dragon, that should be everything we need from the DLC. We have upgraded the bow as fully as we can. We need to go to Caelid and get the Golden Scarab Talisman so we can get a few more runes from leveling. But then we're just going to chill and kill some birds. I need to figure out where to get the scythe. Which I can't remember if I wrote down or not. Oh, yeah, the other thing is the spear talisman, which we could very easily go and get. I'm traveling through Caelid in the most janky way possible here, but we're coming from the Church of the Plague at all times. I don't know if you can get down into Aeonia Swamp from over here. This is another area that I so rarely go to. Mainly because of that guy. But he's fine. He's not an issue. Oh, cool. There's gravestones. Nice, 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 nice. That I can deal with. That's fine. That I cannot deal with, so we won't go there. This guy's going to throw a jar at me in a second. I need to get at least one grace on, like, the west side of Caelid. That's what I should be doing. Yes, Squirrel, that was part of the route that got us to the DLC in 2 hours. So yes, I have killed Grail. I basically kill Grail at the start of each of these runs just for free runes. It's also like 96k, I think, if you have the gold Foulfoot, which is the way I normally like to do things. Lifesteal Fist. Just in case you want to punch stuff later. Punch Stuff's bow. It's the Kindred of Rot, but not the Forager Brood. And we need to head over this way for the gold talisman. Excuse me. Excuse you. So this place basically always sucks, so apologies in advance if I absolutely eat it in this place. Okay, no need for backstepping this time, which is good. At least the Clean Rot Knights shouldn't be any issue at this point. Turn around backwards and quick step. Or back step over and over before I got quick step. Yeah, like... Usually when I say quick step, I mean back step. Poison shouldn't be an issue here, so... We'll be fine. I'm thinking probably 3 hits for this guy. And 3 for his friend. Oh, hang on. Yeah, that works. Glad I got that right. Okay, we'll dispense with the ritual sword talisman for now. Return here and farm some birds. Almost. There we go. And I don't have any more gold pickled foul feet, so I don't have any bonus runes to collect this time around, but we'll get some more. I will say we're getting a decent amount of damage out of this bow now that we're back out of the DLC, which bodes well for the rest of this run, because I don't see us doing a ton of damage to DLC enemies without getting our blessing up to at least like plus 10. Wouldn't you be better off just killing the guys to the right side of the grace? The difference being you can't kill them like en masse without having the Sacred Relic Sword or Rot Breath or any of the like decent AoE attacks, which means it takes more time than just returning to this grace over and over again to kill this one bird. It's just a more volatile thing, whereas this is way more predictable. Like, once you have the waves of gold attack that you get from the Elden Beast's sword, killing those is great, but you have that in, like, New Game Plus as a way of farming runes. Because then you can just spam L2 a couple of times and kill all of them in one go. But the bird is faster up until that point. The bird also occasionally nets you, like, 80k runes because it has, like, glowing eyes. And if you have a gold pickled foulfoot and the gold scarab talisman, then you get tons of runes. But you just get into a rhythm with this. Like, it's not the fastest rune farm in the game, but also a lot of people end up farming runes by, like, glitching stuff. I think they might have patched that in the latest version, but there was ways that you could basically cheat yourself in 99 Lord's runes or whatever. Which I never ended up doing because I didn't want to get like a full level 700 character on my first playthrough, you know? Imagine if Elden Ring had death messages like Minecraft. You'd see a lot of them. Most of them would say Pixelriffs was squished to death by whatever I was fighting at the time. Died from falling off a cliff from cowardice? Yeah. You rolled too much. Interestingly enough, Minecraft and Elden Ring have the same death message if you don't take into account like the thing that appears in chat, because both of them do say you died when you die. There is a death message in Minecraft that is doomed to fall as well, although I think it's when something knocks you off a ladder. So like if you get shot off a ladder by a skeleton, it will say you were doomed to fall by skeleton. I feel like doomed to fall is also something that happens a lot in Elden Ring, and also another really good Kindred of Rot song. Minecraft doesn't have dramatic blah, yeah. Maybe it should. Maybe that's what Minecraft needs now, is a much more epic death screen. And I hate when the bird gets stuck behind that bit of the tree specifically. It's like so hard to hit past the hitbox of the tree. There we go, get it in the neck. Yes, you died from panic rolling. That's what I'd say in Elden Ring most of the time. I think I have capacity for like 4 more flasks. And there's only 3 more sacred tiers, one of which is on Peninsula, the other 2 are in mountain tops, so I could get a little bit more juiced up when it comes to Crimson Tears and everything, but like I think we'll be fine. Maybe make a mod resource pack to add the Soulsborne death to Minecraft. I expect it's already been done. I think RL Craft even does stuff like that. Considering that the you died screen has been like a meme since Dark Souls 1, somebody's already done it, I'm sure. Okay, so the bow does scale with strength as well. And I'm honestly not going to mind a little bit of extra physical defense from strength, so like all bows have strength and dex scaling, basically. There aren't really any bows that don't. It's just that every so often you get one that's like, and maybe also arcane, you know? Is warm beer a trigger word for Dan now? Albinauric bow is pure dex. I mean, I think it scales mostly on dex, but I think everything still gets like an E scaling on strength if it requires strength to use. Having had the Albinauric bow on a previous run, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's something like that. Yeah, we'll put more into strength, sure. I really wish I could put this onto autopilot somehow while I look up where to get the scythe. Does anyone else want to look up on the Elden Ring wiki where to get the scythe? I think it is just scythe. There's a category of weapons called reapers, and it is just the plain boring one of those. Some Leonia tomb. Ah, thank you. I know the one. I actually know the one. I looked it up before, I just didn't, like, save it anywhere, but it's the catacombs that's, like, here. So we'll go and do that in a sec. We'll also do the very brief trip to get the spear talisman. The warm spear talisman. For a sec, I thought you were sarcastic. That does sound like me, to be fair, but no, in that case, I did actually... It did jog my memory enough to remember where it was. Yeah, Cliff Bottom Catacombs is the one. I thought I'd written it down in my my notes app, but I hadn't. But I definitely looked up how to do it and just not written it down. The amount of extra damage scaling that this is giving to Bloodhound's Fang just by leveling up strength is honestly phenomenal. Like, it added 7 points to my right-hand damage just now. Cliff Bottom Catacombs makes you think of Bikini Bottom from SpongeBob. Ah, yes, the Bikini Bottom Catacombs. We're currently level 95. I'm going to get to level 100. And then I won't spend too much more time farming birds on stream because it's just the same thing over and over again. So I don't always want to just camp here and farm. Like, I can do that off camera if I want to. The SpongeBob DLC is next year for Elden Ring. I was thinking of Minecraft, but Minecraft's already had a SpongeBob DLC. Pretty sure there was a SpongeBob like character creator item for Bedrock not too long ago. Yeah, Elden Ring DLC. God, can you imagine a water level in Elden Ring? That'd be the worst. That's 695 on 698. Wow, yeah. Yeah, like scaling strength is still providing a lot for... We're still like early on the curve with strength scaling. I can also now finally take off Radagon's Saw Seal and still use both my weapons. So again, that bodes well for having a couple of different talismans. I think we'll put Arrow Sting on there. Oh wait, hang on. You can still have both. Sting and Soaring Sting both active right now. I thought it was grayed out, but it turns out the talisman is just like a darker color. And Arrow's Reach is the other one we need to go and get. So the damage doesn't stack. So, like, let's say if I R2 headshot that guy, 483, okay. And then if I remove this and I R2 headshot the same guy, 442. $442. $483. It does more damage. It does more damage, and that is consistent. So it does stack, yeah. I thought they'd removed it in a previous build, and maybe they put it back. Maybe they put it back so it does stack. Because evidently that is doing more damage. I mean, they have had a couple of small patches, so maybe that was part of it. I got you. Can you equip all three? I don't have the Arrow's Reach talisman yet. We'll go and collect that in a second when we go and get the Spear talisman. Longer range talisman really does help for bringing minimum distance for max damage much closer. Yeah, so that might also be it. It might be... It might be a range thing. Loading Elder Rangers to test it. Be my guest. Go right ahead. Yeah, we're still getting a couple of points into damage on this bow. I'm slightly sad about the fact that I am going to drop Bloodhound's Fang, but hopefully the Scythe will do decent damage too. And I want to work on armor. I don't want to have Ansbach's armor set, because again, that requires either killing him or completing the game. But I do want to end up with a bit of a look for this character, considering that I've just been default samurai gear and even default appearance since we created the character. I want to do something different. I do think it's kind of cool, though, that Ansbach has that kind of honor and knighthood kind of vibe, and we're a samurai. Like, I think it fits the character. Wondering what our loadout should look like, though. Backstep attack is a really nice overhead swing. Yeah, I haven't used those feint attacks very often, but there's a couple of weapons in the DLC that apparently really favor attacks like that. So I'm kind of curious if we can use one of those to good effect. So here's a funny thing also about having fought Mohg in this. I don't think I have ever used Mohg's Great Rune. I use Morgoth's, Radahn's, and Godric's all the time. Obviously, I don't fight Melania on these streams at all, and I've only actually fought her in-game a few times, so I rarely use hers. But, like, Mohg's is another one that I can't remember what it even does. Is it, like, it restores health, or, like, is it something to do with blood loss? I forget. I think it's something to do with blood loss, right? Because Rykard's is the one that's, like, basically the Blasphemous Blade effect. It's like, when you kill something, you gain more health. Alright, we are level 100. Been running Godric the whole time? Yeah, I tend to just run Godric on most builds, but then Morgoth or Radahn if I need more health late game. Arrow's Reach is incompatible with Soaring Sting. Okay, so it's the Reach talisman that is the bad one. Let's go get it just for the sake of it. Because, you know, we might as well have all of them. But then, the thing that this gives you is increases the effective range of bows, so it's kind of does the same thing already, it just doesn't bring the effective range even closer, which I suppose makes sense, right? Like, it stops you from, like, sniping everybody from super far away and just, like, camping certain stuff. Farming Rune Arcs is a pain. I don't feel like PvP very often. Oh yeah, like, now that I know this game a little better, I will only ever use a Rune Arc if I feel like I'm confident going through an area, but I just want, like, that little extra edge. So yeah, this yeah, we can't equip that because of an incompatible talisman. But really cool that we get the damage increase from both. That's great. So now we're going to go back to Laskia Ruins. We're going to go get the Spear Talisman from there. We'll run both of those and the Spear Talisman, and then we'll add Shard of Alexander later. I'm really glad we got the Arrow's Sting, though, because I thought we were going to have to swap that for the Soaring Sting, but it turns out the Arrow's Reach one was the one we didn't need the whole time. Going to quickly check what else I might need here. No, I think that's basically it. It's the Spear Talisman, Shard of Alexander once we get to Farum, and then we just need a Somber Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone from somewhere. So at this point, I need to farm a few more birds just to buy more arrows. Oh, right. I'm going the wrong way. I'm going to Village of Albinorix when I should be going to the cave over here. The other fun thing about Ansbach's bow is that the description explains it's a longbow that can be wielded like a short bow. So it benefits from having the short bow moveset, which means that arrows fired after you roll are faster and deal like a good bit of damage. The only other thing that's unique about short bows is the ashes you can put on them, and you can't really change the or maybe you can change the Ash of War on Ansbach's longbow, but you can't infuse it, right? I think that's probably the difference. It's really funny that the little demi-human in here always ends up getting me when I take out the big one. Nice. Pretty good damage on completely unarmored demi-humans, but let's add this into the mix. And then we need to leave. We could do what we did last time and get Latena and have like a double archer showdown against any of the bosses who are going to give us trouble later, like Radagon or whoever. But for right now, I think we'll go and get the Cliff Bottom Catacombs done, get the Scythe from there. We'll fight whatever boss is at the end of it, because right now I should be way over-leveled for that. Getting our mileage out of Laskia Ruins today. And I suppose if we want to craft arrows, we should probably fight the Bell-Bearing Hunter to get hold of the Bone Peddler's Bell-Bearing.
Hello. Hello.
You don't exist. Well, that was rude, wasn't it? Is there a spirit summon that's Blood Knight related? I think there might be. I don't think it's quite as explicit as, like, Ansbach is, when he's like, I was a knight in the service of Mohg, and you're like, really? Mohg had anything to do with any other people? Press X to doubt. Every time, dude, every time. Thanks for the map, though, I guess. Look at this frickin' thing. Okay, level 100. What are we gonna do? Oh, we're going to head to the east. Yeah, up onto this road. Once you found the Mimic Summon, that was it. Trivialized the other ones. There's a couple of really solid ones in the DLC. Like Telu the Golem Smith. A few people use to cheese Radahn. If you, like, summon Telu at the start of the fight and then spam heal from afar, he can actually tank a lot of, like, really hefty attacks. But then Latenna was really fun. Like, we found a pretty solid strategy for using Latenna against Radagon in the Albinauric Bow playthrough. So I had fun with that. Obviously, a lot of people already rate Black Knife Tiche, and they are correct in doing so. Oh, okay, we can't go that way. Fine. We'll go up this way instead, then. Parrying is almost like cheese if you're good at it. Parrying is skill. Like... if it takes a bit of effort to learn and understand the timings and stuff, then it is skill. And it's a skill I don't have, so that's something I will probably attempt to do in a future playthrough, especially once we have, like, dagger class weapons coming into the mix, because poise breaking so that you can crit is sort of the point of daggers. Like, they're not a very good weapon class at, like, straightforward hand-to-hand combat. You're just supposed to crit with them and use them as a support weapon. But in my case, if they're going to be the star of the show, I'm going to be parrying and critting, if I can. Parrying with medium shield is hard mode. Yeah, parrying with buckler, I think, is the worthwhile one. Although, carry and retaliation is also pretty goated. Thanks for the book. Speaking of carry and retaliation, I'm pretty sure we get it from around here, don't we? Oh my god. I just realized where we are. Also, I realized I should be fighting with this weapon now. I was almost about to fight a boss with a weapon that was not the star of the run. We can't be having that.
It is to see a friendly face. As you can surmise, I've got myself stuck in a hole. Would you mind helping me out? My thanks. Just give me a good smack from the rear, and I'll pop clean out, I'm sure. No, don't. I'm stuck back together. Just give it your... Please. Wait. I have a terrible feeling about this. I can feel my lower half is stuck on something. I don't think you can get me out just by hitting me this time. Let's think. Perhaps there's a way to slide me out a little more smoothly. What if I could somehow be made slippery or some such?
Okay, chat, mission for you. Please go to the Elden Ring wiki and let me know the location of the cookbook that allows you to craft oil pots, because I cannot remember which one that is. I don't believe I already have it. I can make cursed blood pots, but that's not what this guy needs to become slippery. And yes, for anyone who hasn't seen that before, you can meet Alexander there in Liurnia after the Radahn Festival, but before Mount Gelmir. If you don't see him here, he just goes to Mount Gelmir. But considering we actually want the Shard of Alexander, we should probably follow through on his questline if he's here, because I don't know if he shows up at Mount Gelmir if you don't get him out of the hole there. He is incidentally right by Jarburg, but that's another story for another time. Abandoned merchant ship for a river. Copy that. Thank you very much. Okay, we missed the turning. There's also a mixed physic tier which coats enemies in oil. So I think that might be a solution for the Alexander thing if you just drink the physic by him, but I think you get that one from a really out-of-the-way furnace golem fight, so I don't really feel like investigating. Alright, so in here we're looking for the scythe. These catacombs are relatively short because they're not like end game yet, so this should be nice and easy. I am going to try and use the bow more. Because we might as well. Also, happy to get more smithing stones because we might need them for the scythe, considering I don't think it's a somber weapon. I'm glad I know how to use bows at this stage. Oh, this is the one with the omens and stuff in it. I don't like this one. It's annoying. It's annoying. Then again, I don't know where the weapon is down here, so... We'll see how we do against these guys. Oh. We get Horaloo Power Bombed. Oh. Yeah, fighting in close quarters, not fun. Fan Shot, on the other hand, did a decent amount of damage there. It just ate 10 of my arrows. I have once again fallen and I can't get up. Okay. It's not that, because that's the mirror mask thing. The heck out of here, you. Alright. What are you? A rune arc. Lovely. Love that. Very happy about that. Move off to the stairs to head upwards, guarded by 3 imps and a floor trap. Roger that. Ting. Alright. What's next? Ah, 3 imps and a floor trap. I think this is the one. Yep, it's the third one. There it is. We don't even technically need to fight the boss of this one, but I wouldn't mind doing that, I guess. Oh, hello. Rude not to at this point, yes. Absolutely. I forget what this one is. It might just be a burial watchdog or something. I'm just getting low on arrows now, but we will also have to get back to the Grace in order to even get out of here, so... Hi. Sorry, were you enjoying that flower? Okay, good. That's that guy dealt with. There's another guy who's like patrolling around behind that, but then we can just take this guy out. Like this. Nice. Easy money. And then we take this ladder up. Just checking there's nothing following me at that point. Difference in fletched and not is huge, which makes pinions yet another farm unless you buy plain arrows. I have been mostly buying arrows from Carle and any of the other merchants who sell me arrows. One arrow left, look at that. Oh, we got page ashes, fun. Figured there'd be one left. Okay, so back to the Grace, restock on arrows, fight whatever's down here. Is this one where the Grace is, like, up the elevator? It is, isn't it? Boring. Ascendio. Yeah, nowhere near enough runes now, because we are way over-leveled for this area. At least we now have enough runes that we can start buying some arrows from people. We got 4 in particular that I would like to buy from. It is kind of annoying that this bow won't even do half the damage that the Bloodhound's Fang does at this point. But we're not Bloodhound's Fanging it anymore. We are moving to the Scythe after this. Cool. Good fight. I don't mind this bow. It's not bad. Crafting fletched rot arrows to pass by tough enemies. Yeah, the problem with the rot arrows is that the butterflies aren't renewable, right? So if the rot arrows don't get you through a fight, you've just lost them. That's my problem with it, is like they're consumable. I guess I'll crush all of these. Oh yeah, I need to remember to do this more. So that we don't have to worry about the menu closing every time we do that. And then Astray from Highway North. It's right by the guy who sells you flame arrows. Can't exactly make a skeleton farm to get more arrows. I mean, you can. That's the problem. You can. Or at least you can beat a guy who sells you the... or sells you... Who gives you the... where's the merchant at? Oh, he's over there. I was at the wrong grace. You can beat a guy who ends up giving you the item that lets you buy bones. And you can use the bones that way. So flame arrows. Bunch of them, very good. Soldiers drop arrows sometimes. They don't drop the rot arrows though, I don't think, right? Like, pretty sure they don't. We haven't spoken to Banal, even though we have this grace.
Let me ask, are you here? Does your despite? Yeah. Takes me any interest. All I know. Now's the time.
We actually don't have enough runes to buy one right now. I can get enough runes. Because I think you actually have to buy something for the Bell-Bearing Hunter to show up. So I think one of the cheaper ones is like 600 runes.
There you.
Endure, parry, no skill.
Well.
Until we meet again. And this one I am going to do with Bloodhound's Fang because this guy sucks and he does not deserve the bow. There we go. Fortunately, at this point, I'm very over-leveled for that fight. Because I hate fighting that guy and I don't want to do it again. Okie doke. Now we've done that. We've got the talismans we want, except for Shard of Alexander, which we'll get another time. We can farm runes to get the different types of arrows. We need to go and unlock the merchant on Dragon Barrow. So I guess we'll ride there from Fort Faroth is probably the best way. No skill is your favorite. We'll pass the time until morning just so we don't end up encountering the Dragon Barrow Bell-Bearing Hunter, because he is the worst. Yeah, Jessica Albanoric was taught me a lot of things about bow usage. But no skill on the Ratter's shield, 100% physical is light. I use the weapon skill instead? Yeah. At some point I will end up getting into the minutiae of how to spec out characters in a more interesting way. Like to make things a little fun later on, but I think right now some of these playthroughs are like some of my earliest times using some of these like weapons. Like we need to level up this scythe. But now we are rolling like Ansbach, scythe and bow all day every day. Oh wait, I've gone completely the wrong way here. Need to be headed up this way. Would Millicent Talisman give you damage? You hit with like 6 arrows at a time. I don't know if that's how it works. And also I think you're not hitting with those arrows in quick succession. You're hitting with them all at the same time. So I'm not really certain if Millicent's prosthesis really benefits it. And also you take long enough to charge up your next shot that I think you actually don't keep the benefit of something like that. I don't think it would work that way. I mean, the only way it could help is that it raises dex. But then there's other talismans that do that, of course. Yeah, but by all means test it if you want to give it a try. I've never used a scythe in this game before. This is a first for me. The first thing I'm going to kill with it is that dog. So now we have this guy, and this is the one who sells you serpent arrows. So I will definitely buy some of those, because poison will be quite useful in future. Also, Spiked Cestus, my beloved, and the armor that we're already wearing. I don't know if there's any armor that would specifically be helpful for a bow user. That's something I'm curious about. So I guess the main thing now is we level up this scythe, right? Did I get the cookbook? I did not. Because we need to go to Shifra River for that. And I will go and do that momentarily. We've not been to Shifra River at all, except to Mogwin Palace, which is technically part of the same area. Hey, man. Thank you. Alright, that's 5 more smithing stones and a smithing 2. Because I can only assume that this scythe is a standard weapon, not a Somber. Just thought you missed it? Yeah, no worries. We are headed that way now, actually. As it happens. We could also go to Nokran, in case I want to get the Mimic tier. The funny thing with this is we're not going to be spec'd out as far as our talismans for using the scythe at all. Like, this thing doesn't do piercing damage or thrusting attacks. This guy sells regular arrows too, so I might as well grab a few more from him while we're here, but I don't have enough runes to get a bunch of them. So despite having, obviously, the DLC missions to take care of and stuff, This stream has been fairly eclectic when it comes to the stuff that we've actually done. It feels like these all often start, like, eclectic and then get more focused. It feels like the opposite has happened here. Like, I think we probably need to wrap up the stream by going and fighting Morgoth or something just to restore balance. Can kill Millicent early for the not as good one. Yeah, I feel the same about Millicent's prosthesis as I feel about Alexander's Shard of Alexander. Like, it's not really worth getting the worse version. Because so often there are other talismans that would basically do the same job, right? Always love taking this elevator ride. Takes a long dang time, though. Oh. Alright, we're here. This is my stop. You can only get on the horse once the elevator stops. Those are the rules. Gonna start gathering the gloveworts just in case we need them later. Oh, remember Albie Spellin? Remember the Oracle Bubbles? Good old Albie. First time you rode the elevator, you were stunned by how deep it went? Yeah, no, Shifra River is one of those revelation moments where you're like, oh, this game is really big, actually. And I think one of the coolest things about this game for me was when it starts out and you have the map fragment for Limgrave, and you're like, oh, okay, this is a reasonably decent-sized area. There's a lot going on in this game. And then, obviously, you get any of the map fragments that are further off the map, and you're like, wait, now how big is this game? And then you continue and you get the entire map and you're like, oh, this game's big. Speaking of maps, let's go and get that one real quick. Near the end of Rani's quest, get another surprise of big map. Yes, yes, good old Lake of Rots. Yes, and it's all in one seamless area, and you can go from one end of the map to the other very quickly. I think the Tower of Return was another big one for me, was like, you go to Weeping Peninsula, it transports you to the Divine Bridge in Lanedale, you get an early look at that dragon. Like, there's so many reveals like that, and like teasers of upcoming areas, and oh, that's going to be useful. I'll have to remember where that is, because I often need gold pickled foul feet later in the game. But yeah, there are so many of those good little, like, location reveals, you know? I like this bow. This bow's good. Absolutely eats arrows, but it's good. Eight at a time. Yeah, Crumbling Faramazula from 4 Belfries. That's amazing. Honestly, just coming out of the first doorway in Limgrave.
Ooh, a customer.
Oh, of course, I need runes for this, don't I? Huh. Okay. What does this guy have? Beast bones. What else can I sell?
Hello again. Good customer.
Definitely a couple of things I can sell here that I'm not going to use. Like these. Seems so silly to sell anything in this game. We sell the Bloodhound's Fang now. Really prevent us from using it. Dragon Great Claw. Vike's War Spear. Don't even have the stats for that. So this one tells us how to make the oil pots.
Goodbye till next.
Wish you could sell golden seeds, I know. So what do I need to craft the oil pots? Melted mushrooms. Nice and easy. They're everywhere. I say they're everywhere, and then the first few places I look don't have them. Where are they? There's one. Haha. And then we do need a cracked pot, so I do need to go back to Kali, which is why I have more runes. I wish you could eat the golden seeds. I wish you could plant the golden seeds. Have a farming segment in Elden Ring.
Always a pleasure. Goodbye.
Goodbye. One oil pot, please. And now, back to Alexander. Scythe is massive. It's pretty big. Pretty big scythe. It's pretty big. Down the road. Around this guy. Good job at staying on task. We've been kind of all over the place in chat. Oh yeah, no, like that's to be expected from Twitch chat. I'm here to entertain you, but you're also here to entertain yourselves. Pot friend.
Let's think. I mean, what if I could...
What if I could somehow be made slippery?
By gods, you are a woman of vision. This will have me as slippery as a toad. I have a good feeling about this, my friend. Right.
Why is he not coming out? That was his hand. There we go. I was worried there for a sec.
My thanks to you and your razor-sharp wits. As a...
Oh, that's the,
Yeah, there were countless oil jars back where I'm from, actually. And now I know what it's like to be one of them. Yes, though it is one to pow. I can feel the warrior walk the path of... I'm headed to the... I can strengthen myself. I will forge my...
Alright, so that's why he tells you that he's going to Mount Gelmir from that point. He's also looking out over this cliff, and he mentions that, and that's how you discover that, hey, Jarbug is actually there. But we're not going to go there, because we don't need to. Not until we have the Diallos side quest to do, which is probably not going to happen for a while. How much do we have in the way of smithing stones right now? We've got plenty of ones, almost enough twos. I think we can go and buy some smithing stone wands from a couple of the merchants. Maybe even some smithing stone twos. I'm going to go south on Weeping Peninsula because this way we can also get... Oh, Arena's still alive. We can also get the last sacred tier that we need from before we go to mountaintops. We'll level up the scythe a little bit, and then we'll go and fight more gods. And that's where we'll wrap up today's stream. Might as well get that now we're a bowman. Charbug at home is a potted plant, yes. Alright. 3 of those. Only 1 of these, so we need 1 more. But then we'll also be able to go and get a bunch of Smithing Stone 2s from around Liurnia. Oh, I didn't do the Sacred Tier. It literally told me about Sacred Flasks on the next screen. It's like, aren't you missing something?
You're unsurprised, no matter. No, I don't. Oh, but don't.
Don't. One quick return to Castle Morn to get the tier. The oil has melted mushrooms in it, it's true. We can't trust whether he's in full command of his faculties after that. Honestly, the lighting flickers are getting annoying now. Don't know why it's doing that. I saw some people having issues with that after the DLC launch, but it had never shown up for me until now. Thank you. That's all I needed. Let's farm a few more birds just for arrow budget. And no, I don't have ray tracing enabled. I couldn't even run it with ray tracing when they patched that in. Like, it would just crash the game for me. Like, I genuinely couldn't load the world. So I just never bothered with ray tracing after that. Didn't get that one, for whatever reason. Should also have Golden Scarab on for more runes. Nope, they're just not walking off the cliff now. Really have got to wait to watch it fall, just in case. Better check for some people it turned back on. Ray tracing quality off. Advanced settings. Can we put lighting quality at maximum? Is that going to help? Got him. I'm also kind of curious if there's anywhere else we can get different types of arrows from the DLC. Like, I know Tiolier has that whole thing about poison and whatnot, and I can't remember if he sells you like a sleep arrow recipe or something like that. Have I played the DLC? Yes. Immediately started talking about DLC content. I'm using a DLC weapon right now. We're using Ansbach's Longbow. And so, yeah, I have been playing the DLC. I've completed it with my main character, but obviously on these playthroughs, our goal is to complete the base game. So when we go and get weapons from the DLC, we will end up completing certain aspects of it, but it has no bearing on the ending of the main game. So. But I can't remember if you get anything new for bows, really, from within the DLC, so... that is a curiosity that we will satisfy another time. Yeah, we can craft the different arrows ourselves, but again, that involves grinding for crafting materials, which is something I'm not super jazzed about. Now, the Combined Talisman is not after Gaius. We have it already. The Combined Talisman is in Fogrift Fort, which is after R'hllana. And even then, you can get to it without fighting R'hllana. I have it equipped. It's right there. Yeah. So, we can go and do... a quick roundup of Smithing Stone 3s from here. Thinking of the Wolf Rider Talisman and Gaius's pants. I think that's the funniest thing about it for me, is the fact that Gaius's pants are dropped by the Wolf Rider. It's like, what were you doing with those? Got anything you want to talk about there? I think these are the gazebos we want to hit. Just to make sure we've got our Somber 3s. Not Somber, Smithing Stone 3s. Gaius does not have feet, by the way. I mean, he's an Albinauric, right? That's the whole thing. He's basically the male equivalent of those Albinauric Wolf Riders from the snowfield. Except he's riding a big old boar instead. Oh, those are Smithing 2s. I got tricked into hanging out near the lobsters. Ah, these devilish lobsters. I should really be putting blood grease on this scythe or something, right? I should be working the status angle a bit more. More Smithing Stone 2s. Oh, I thought I was using the scythe. I was clearly not. It was on my back. Never got the Temple Quarter Grace while I was here. Albinaurics have feet but have poor physics, or physique. Gaius is said to be cursed. He's something of a centaur. Well, yeah, the whole thing with Albinaurics is that their legs give out, right? Pillar, welcome in. Thank you for the raids. We are playing with Ansbach's bow. We are just about to level up this scythe a little bit so that we have a complementary melee weapon. and then we're going in to fight Morgoths. The bow we are using right now has the distinction of having a very cool weapon skill that also uses a ton of arrows. There we go, there's our smithing 3s. So right now we're making sure that we don't run out of options to fight in the middle of battle. Yeah, it is honestly amazing that this game is full of ridiculous epic boss fights and all that stuff, and the main thing players are concerned about is lobsters and dogs. The most hated and feared enemies in the game are fairly normal creatures. Someone's doing the little, like, what I think of as the Julia salute. I think that is actually the one that gets you to King's Realm Ruins, so we don't want to go to that one. Don't forget bears, also crabs, prawns, and turtles. Well, the prawns are basically the lobsters. The crabs, I've never found the crabs that difficult in this game. They're nowhere near as bad as the lobsters. And the turtles don't hurt you. Which is why they made one of them the Pope. Crabs are insane in Dark Souls 3, but not as bad in Elden Ring. I haven't played the Dark Souls games, so that's why I'm not familiar with the crab fervor, crab frenzy. Alright, we should now be able to get the scythe at least up to +8. So I'll take it. Let's go say hi to Hugh. To wonder if someone on the design team is allergic to shellfish. They might well be.
Greetings, my name isn't this place around. I never knew, although I'm still looking for my... It's all I'm still looking.
Alright, let's go say hi to Hugh. He'll be like, you're a new face. Haven't spoken to him yet.
You're a new face.
Yeah.
No matter loud, you're a...
Nice, so scythe +8. We have spinning slash as well. I should take advantage of that later. Very good.
Back already, no matter. The girl, she's crazy. She has it. I saw in their eye. I see nothing special. I'm trapped. That's all there is. Well, no great. My big decides, despite my decides, you know.
Okay. Yeah, Hugh has not had an opportunity to think I was dead yet. This is true.
It's all a bit. I'm still looking for your dad. I don't believe. If I do, I suppose I should try to. I'll ask Master Hugh. Certainly, I know he's. I can tell.
So at least we can get set up with spirit tuning in case we need it later.
Back over, no matter. Look up. My food's absurd. I don't.
Okay. So we need to be at West Capital Rampart, I guess, to go fight Godfrey. Then we get our last talisman slot. We also need to go and see Alexander at Mount Gelmir for him to show up. Gonna ignore this golden seed for now. Just make our way to Godfrey, because I would like to finish this one fighting Morgoths. Morgott by end of stream 2 is usually a pretty good spot to want to be in. I quite like the scythe. Bow's good too. Oh, we got it before he fell. That actually kind of rules. Not gonna lie, I like that. No! Oh, wait a second. I lived! I lived! It's the perks of having one of these things on your back. The tree caught me. It knows. Oh, they have a heal? I don't think I ever saw these guys heal before. That's kind of hilarious. Ow, okay, he got me. He got me mid-air that time. Okay, 800 is worth it with arrows. Also, I think I got 1200 that time because he was mid-attack when I hit him. So timing is actually going to really help with that. How goes the longbow run? It goes pretty well. We have the longbow at least. I have this incredible outfit, which I'm kind of I'm kind of keen on. I kind of like that. We can add to our strength to continue leveling up the bow. We have our next talisman pouch, so we can get more. Honestly, poison's going to be good against Morgott, right? Yeah, we have our next talisman pouch, so we can get more talismans. We are about to go and fight the Monarch of Leyndell. I do still need to go and get some holy arrows. And we can upgrade this bow by 1 more point. Have I played Hollow Knight before? I have not. Ah, they fixed that guy. It was possible to avoid that fight by crouching behind them before, but I may have just goofed by having a big outfit or something. Hey, what's new?
Spoken words if you wish. In Marrow, red art yet to become me. Thou art yet to become a god. Let us be shattered, both. Mine other self.
Did she say that before? Is that new? I don't think I've ever seen that before. What? Did they just put that in? Or did I do stuff in a weird order? I don't think I've ever seen her say that before. I'm going to summon her for this fight. Just so we have a little bit of a distraction from Morgott, but... Here he is.
Graceless, tarnished. What is thy business with these thrones? Ah, Godric the Golden. The twin prodigies, Mikola and Melania. General Radahn, Praetor Rykard, Luna Princess Rani, willful traitors, all. Thy kind are all of a piece.
Calling me a piece?
Pillagers, emboldened by the flame of ambition.
Pillagers, evokers, vindicators.
Have it writ upon thy meager grave. Felled by King Morgott, last of all kings.
Heck yeah. Let's do this. Oh. Oh. He's an agile boy. Okay, we got a decent one off that time. Should probably fan shot some poison. The chair crumbled as expected. Mel with the clutch heal. Okay, he is poisoned now. Good. Nice. Oh. A little too close. Oh, right in the jaw that time.
Thy part of this shall not be forgotten.
Okay, I'm stuck. I'm stuck in the corner. I'm stuck in the corner. Ow. We got so comfortable with fights like this, with a lot of these other weapons. I forget how intense this is when you can only do a little bit of damage at a time. He's still stinky though. We've still got a chance. No! Ah, he got me. Well, there goes half my stock of arrows. I'm going to crush his remembrance and use it to buy some poison arrows. What is the, raises HP recovery effects of Flask of Crimson Tears, greatly lowers damage negation for fire. Yeah, yeah. Decent holy damage negation. Yeah, we got pretty close. We got pretty close. Main problem now is I don't have a whole lot of poison arrows left. I also didn't buy a bunch of poison arrows like I should have. So we can't rely on that anymore. Oh, the delayed attacks, man. This guy is the king of them after all. King of Lanedale and also of the delayed attack. That time I just ran out of stamina. That's on me. Really shouldn't fan shot while he's doing this because he takes less damage. Just prepare it for once he's done. The other thing I can do is swap these for fire arrows so I have slightly more ammunition. Oh, it's always painful when you see them miss, because it's like, well, that's just a waste of so many of my arrows. More like more gotten. More like more got 'em. I don't know if we got more runes out of me over equipping that, but we did it anyway. We did it live. I had a spare talisman slot, I went for it. King of Delanedale. Yeah, there we go. Fresh. Certified fresh. I like the way the scythe and the flowers wobble so much as you run. First try.
Hello again, old friend.
Hi.
Allow me a moment to converse with you.
Why are my feet sinking into the floor?
No,
like Robin Williams at the end of Jumanji.
The thorn, a husk, the only way and become my purpose. So I'd like to the flame then and guide you.
We got rolled.
Shall I let my share them with me?
Yeah, turn my runes specifically to strength, please.
Your ambitions.
And then, as promised, I'm going to use this to go and buy some poison arrows. Yes, you had something that caught my eye. It was arrows tipped in poison. which I can almost buy a full stock of, so not too bad.
Have a safe journey.
Cheers. Anyway, I think that's where we will wrap things up for tonight. I'm going to go back to Palace Approach Ledge Road in anticipation of farming some more birds, because I need the arrow budget and also probably a few more levels if we're going to get through this. We got Fire Giant next up. That's going to be fun. We'll see if I can craft some cold arrows before that, but cross your fingers for me. In the meantime, folks, I'm going to send you on to somebody else who's streaming here on Twitch. Let's see if Eloise is live from Fantasy Minecraft yet. Looks like she is. Wonderful. Let's go raid Eloise. Yeah. I might be back tomorrow, depending on if I have time to stream. If I don't, then I'll be back on Thursday with more Fantasy Minecraft and a bit more Elden Ring for you folks. Probably around the same time. I'm not sure about Wednesday streams, but Tuesdays, Thursdays, and when I stream on Sunday, I will aim to do stuff a little bit earlier, because it's kind of nice to have a little bit of free time, end the streams when it's still light in the sky, and be able to make something more than just, like, you know, whip up something quick for dinner. So, I'll see you folks bright and early on Thursday, and in the meantime, have yourselves a great week. Stay funky. Stay cool. Stay safe. Take care. Bye for now.